Alright. Peace, 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 peace. What's going on with you? Welcome to Movie Innerstandings. This is Brother Low. Um, just me, you know what I'm talking about. Friend in Philly, but I'll catch the replay. It's one of my favorite movies. All right, Pay the Fool. No, peace, brother. Aki Antonio. You know what I'm talking about. So we gonna get into it. All right. Come on there, Jermaine. I can't look at my left without you. All right. Thank you. Already. Peace, Sister Manera. Okay, so here we are. And we're talking about today Memoirs of a Geisha, right? Actually, it's a book, and it's by author Golden. Um, actually, when this movie came out, when I was in college, my one of my college professors was also a colonel. He was a colonel for the reserves, right? And when this movie came out, he made us read Diary of a Geisha, right? It's a totally different story, right? But he wanted us to show what happens to, the downside of being a so-called geisha. With the woman in that story, she goes through so much turmoil in her life and things of that nature, and she becomes the maul of a yakuza gangster. For those that don't know, in olden, like in the 20s and whatnot, a mall was a girlfriend of a gangster. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was an interesting story. But here we are talking about Memoirs of Geisha. It's always been a good movie. I've always liked it. It's one movie that deals with feminine arts. You know what I'm saying? And the other one would be, Kama Sutra, Tell of Love, and I would also say Wang Jingyi. It's a Korean movie about courtesan, a Gyeonsun. I like Korean Gyeonsuns. Um, so that's another one dealing with feminine arts and things of that nature, courtesans and whatnot. But I'm talking about. Peace, Sister Aquia. Peace, Sister Moksha. Peace, Sister Deirdre. You know. Um, so um, we dealing with at the start. Before I start, I got to give you some historical context. The geisha started in the 16th, or sometimes they say 17th century, but it started during the Edo period. And as I told you before, when we were dealing with we were dealing with Lone Wolf and Cub. Um, the Edo period is also known as the Tokugawa period, and it's when the shogun ruled. Now, mind you, there was an emperor during the Tokugawa period and during the Roaring States period or the Sengoku Jidai. But the emperor was like a figurehead in a sense. He really didn't have affairs and manners of state. But during the Edo period is when and for those that don't know, Edo is just Tokyo. It's the old name for Tokyo, right? Um, so this is when the geisha were formed, and not only that, the geishas were started by men, you know, um, and it was something totally different at that time. Um, the men would perform for nobles and samurai and things of that nature, and the courtesans would they'd be with courtesans, and he would be the entertaining factor of the meal or the ceremony and whatnot. And then after he was done with his performance, you go back to your room and do what grown folks do, right? So, and then women started to become geisha, and then they transform it into a whole different thing than what the men did, because the men stopped being geisha at that time. you know as things progressed, being geisha uh, for those that don't know, geisha means artist, you know what I'm saying? So it took on a different form, but it was started by men. An example of probably what a geisha was, or what a geisha is it's on Netflix. It's called The Crown and the Clown, or The Clown and the Crown, right? It's a Korean drama, and it's about this court jester who entertains Johnsons, and noble lords, at the start, right? And that's all he does, what I'm saying? But it shows you an example of what a male geisha was at that time, right? Um yeah, well, since she already seen it, I seen it before it was on Netflix. It's good. It's really, that one is really good, because of the actors and whatnot is really good. But yeah, um, so you know, but during the 20th century, the turn of the 20th century, Japan was, becoming an empire. And they was getting buck, but all of a sudden, a demand for geisha was at an all-time high during this period, right? And so it sort of brings us to the setting of Memoirs of a Geisha, because you see Chio being sold off to by her father, and women at that time were being sold off, you know, to geisha houses or whatever, because there was money in it, and people were poor. This is doing, this, even though Japan is forming an empire at this point. You still got to remember this is also during the Depression. It doesn't give a time, but you can pretty much figure out. You can figure it out. So this is also during the Depression, and the Depression was worldwide. It just wasn't in America. Okay, so so yeah, so she was sold off to her father, and things that she's um she's noticed by her eyes. Um, and everybody, she has blue eyes, gray blue eyes or whatever. And she meets, mother, and and they talk about her eyes, and then they say, water can break rock, and wind trap, water can make a new path. It really, brings up the Bruce Lee, interview, when he talks about being like water. You know what I'm saying? But you have to understand something about Memoirs of a Geisha as well. It's Disney princess meets female mafia. That's the best way I could put it. It's a lot of it's very Disney princess in many ways. So and it's westernized, so you have to take it with a grain of salt as well, because it's westernized, very westernized. And one thing I also remember about this movie is the simple fact that the Japanese didn't like it. One, because all the principal actresses were all Chinese. That was one big thing. Even though Michelle Yeoh, her catalog is just fire. And Zhang Ji, I've always had a thing for Zhang Ji since she was in Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But the fact that wasn't no real Japanese in this movie, besides that, the male actors, that was a problem. I remember that. And but you have Chio and her sister. They're both sold off, and you know, one goes to one house, the other one goes to another house, right? So they're broken up, and Chio meets another girl, Pumpkin. I didn't know depression was all over the world. Amazing. Yes, Sister Quay, you have to understand that it just wasn't here. It was all over, because you got to remember that, look, it's after World War One. Like, okay, Germany hit by the Depression. You know what I'm saying? They got to pay off all this debt for war. They didn't even start. So it was everywhere. And and nothing for Japan, they was hit as well, just because of the fact that they don't have a lot of natural resources. So the best way you can get some resources to conquer. You know what I'm saying? Was the book westernized or just the movie? I would probably say the book might be westernized just for the simple fact that it was um, researched by a Western author. But I mean, he did go to Japan. But if you ever hear him talk, it's with a Western mind. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he tries not to westernize geisha, but in order for you to understand, he has to westernize so you can understand. You know, it's weird like that. Otherwise, you're not gonna get it. You know. So I would say that, brother Antonio. But she meets Pumpkin and they talk about, what a geisha is. If you do this, you get sent to school and you'll be able to, drink sake and sleep till noon, you know, and whatnot, right? And thanks for the insight. I didn't consider the war and its economic. Oh, yeah, and its economy cooling for. Yeah, well, it's all of that. Like I said, every country was hit differently. Every country was hit differently. During that time, you got the depression, you got the Dust Bowl, you got prohibition. you know, it's a bruh. You just hit over the head with so much stuff that sometimes it's good. We'll talk to you. For those that still living, talk to your grandparents about depression. They'll let you know some things. Or if they know. So yeah, but she talks to a mother. Now the Japanese form for mother is okasan. you know Okasan. But they don't say it, they just call her mother. So but the Japanese word for mother is okasan, right? Now mind you, mother runs um the Okia, right? They keep on talking about the Okia, but you don't know what it means. So the Okia is, a lodging for geisha, but it's also, in my research, it's a tea house. It's supposed to be like a tea house, or a place, where you drink and socialize and things of that nature. But it's, formerly for geisha. It's a geisha house, right? So mother is the, matron of the Okia, you know. And so she tells Chio, to wear these sandals. I forget what they're called, and then wear these in the house. And she said, we don't display our naked feet like monkeys. It's not flesh that we're selling. You already get a distinction that geisha are not prostitutes or courtesans or uh women of the night. And in fact, during the time of the Edo period, um you know a lot of legislation and um policy and policing, you know, was done during that time to separate the basically separate what a geisha was and maybe what a prostitute or courtesan and things of that nature was. You know what I'm saying? So you can have a distinct line, that was always policed, during that period as well. Even though, pleasure districts and things of that nature were legal, and it was still legal. You might find those things, in the same district, but two very different things, you know. Um, and so we meet, when we get the story of Hatsumono, right? And it's told to Chio. And we are also told that a geisha needs an elegant wardrobe. If she doesn't have that, then she's not a true geisha. Now you got to understand something about geisha. You know what I'm talking about. That is true because a kimono, the kimono that they wear, is very expensive. You want to talk about women that live a glam lifestyle or a very upscale lifestyle. It is a geisha because of the simple fact In modern terms, a kimono can cost like to 10 to 20,000 dollars, and that's just and it probably is more now, but it could be that much. You wearing a $10,000, $20,000 kimono, silk, 10,000, $20,000 kimono, and you got like 20, 10, 10 you dress good every day. You know what I'm talking about? Peace, Chief. Peace to all you boppers out there. you know, in the city. Okay. Uh, but they, and not only that, to be geisha, that is an expensive thing to be. That is an expensive profession to be. You know what I'm saying? You got to go to school for that. And the equivalent, well, the modern monetary equivalent to that is that it's $500,000. It's $500,000. At least it probably has gone up, but it's $500,000 just to go to school. And not only that, you sacrifice a lot being a geisha just because of the simple fact that geisha don't marry. They don't marry. They don't go into that, but geisha never marry. You know what I'm saying? But it's so you picking a you picking a profession that costs more than college for one. That costs more than college, and you wear you got 10,000, $20,000 clothes on you every day. You stay fly. You stay fresh to death every day. Every day. Every day. Your hair is done every day. Like they say, hair and makeup dead. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, but you have to have that. And so Chio and Pumpkin, they go to school to become geisha. You start off as a little kid. You know what I'm saying? Um, but some choose at basically 15 years old, standard age, to choose to become a geisha or whatever. But we meet Hasamono, and she finds Chio in her room, and then she's told, that her sister came by to see her at the Okia, and and that she was looking for her. And so Hasamono tells her to basically swear herself to her. But basically, giving an oath to her. You see that in the medieval periods where you swear yourself to a lord or things of that nature, or to the king. It's the same thing pretty much, but to another geisha. And Hasamono is a hood. Well, Hasamono is a hood geisha. I was just gonna say it. Hasamono is hood. This girl drinks. you know, this girl drinks. She does everything. She drinks. She smokes. Things of that nature. But she's a geisha, right? And she tells Chio to basically mess up Mameha's kimono. But she's very spiteful. And what's not. And and send it back to mommy. So she sends it back to mama, and she's seen, and she runs back out. And then because of that, Chio gets beat. She get beat with the cane. You know what I'm saying? Some of us talk about, get a switch. This girl's big with a bamboo with a bamboo cane. I don't know how hard a bamboo cane is, but I don't think you want to be beat with one, right? And so Chio goes to find Satsu one night, and Satsu is basically a prostitute. She's not a geisha; she's a prostitute. She's in a pleasure house, and Satsu plans to steal money. And then take Chio with her, and so they set up a time to meet, right? And but Chio finds Hatsumomo with this dude called Koichi. Koichi. I man, I have been hit with bamboo. It can break bones. Okay, Chi. Well, thank you for telling us. Now I know. Oh, you not want to be hit with a bamboo stick. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, already. Being beaten by anything festival is always worship. Right. So she sees her with Koichi, you know. Um and Hatsumomo lies about saying that she was trying to run away and she had money, and whatnot. And she found her trying to run away. So Chiyo says, Sue was like, I ain't running. I saw her with men. They were right here. His name is Koichi. So mother or Okasan, she, basically she checks her box, right? And finds out, it's been used. you know, and says, lock this place down because you ain't gonna never see him again, you know, and whatnot, right? And so, but since the house is locked down, the Okia's locked down. Chio tries to escape, and she tries to escape from the roof. You know what I'm saying? And she falls, and she's found out, and then she finds out, that her sister never waited for her, and not only that, that both of her parents are dead. You know, so that makes her very sad. And but because of her trying to run away, Chio basically becomes mother's slave. You also have to understand that during this time, what I'm saying, people, girls that were sold off, that's what they were. But also you gotta understand that they racked up so much debt, what I'm saying, because of cost to send form, it costs to take them to school, it costs a lot. So the best equivalent that I can think of is one, maybe a 360 deal, what I'm saying, or two, sharecropping. you know, you go to the general store and rack up all this debt for feed and whatnot, and then you give it to, old master, that used to own you, but he said, oh, you still in debt. You owe this, and you never be able to pay it off, right? So yeah. Um, and so she stops going to school and everything like that, and all she is just a maid. So Chio, is sad and whatnot. And she meets the chairman for the first time. Chairman's a grown man, and he's with two geisha, you know, and he offers her, basically, it's not a sweet ice. I just say how they say it, sweet ice, um, and he gives her some money until don't no more frowns. It's real nice to her. And she, she puts the cherry flavor on her lips. Say, I'm a geisha too, things of that nature. But the money that he gives her, like I said, could have fed her for a month. What I'm saying? But she gave it back in prayer. Yeah, we call them icy cups. And whatnot. But for sure, it's just she. And she gives it back as an offering, and she basically prays, to become a geisha. So, like I say, this is during, sometimes past when she was 15, now it's during the time of World War II. What I'm saying? Like I said, we dealing with the depression of World War II. So this is during World War II, and the period, Imperial Japan, because they had an emperor at this time, Hirohito and whatnot. She reinvested into offering. She is clear. That's on her purpose. Exactly. What I'm saying. So we're dealing with World War II, and we're dealing with empire building and whatnot. By this time, Japan is hitting up Asia. They going to China, they going to Korea, they going to Philippines, they going to Southeast. They getting buck in the Pacific. You know what I'm talking about. And we meet Mameha, who is another geisha, but she comes to Okasan or mother, um, to basically mentor, be the protege of Chio, but she makes a deal with mother, and she says, you know, I will pay for Chia's schooling and everything until her debut. And if she's able to pay off all her debt, basically within 6 months, what I'm saying, you have no right to her future earnings. So mother takes the deal, what I'm saying, and whatnot. Now, Mamiha is a famous geisha, a legend in the game in this story. Her Mitsuage was the highest that had ever been bidded for at that time, right? So she's real legend geisha, veteran in the game, what I'm talking about. So yeah, and then she tells, they always look at Chio, and she looks at her eyes, and and the reference of water again, right? And she says, water is powerful. It can wash away earth and put away fire and destroy iron. And water can do all those things. You know, so yeah. But she also tells her about music being the art of conversation. What I'm saying? And that is one thing that a geisha is. A geisha is an artist. What I'm saying? So music is for them the art of conversation. You see that in a lot of not just with geisha, but also with other, I guess you say, Eastern um, courtesan arts. I would say they tend to be um, great artists with musical instruments and singing and dancing and things of that nature. But she explains what a geisha is to her, right? She says, geishas are not courtesans or wives. We sell our skills, not our bodies. We create another secret world, a place only of beauty. What I'm saying? And geisha means artist, and to be geisha is to be judged as a moving work of art. You know, they take music, dance, and even the way they serve as deep forms of communication. Exactly. And it's just not only just that. It's even the presentation and how they look as a deep form of communication. What I'm saying? That's why it costs so much. It's even in how, not just how they do that, but even their mannerisms and how they look is a style of communication. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, because one, geishas don't show a lot of skin, but the skin that they show is a very deep and intimate conversation. Even like she says, I show him my wrist, what I'm saying? As a form of, an intimate, as a form of intimate thing. Even the edges of their makeup, from like up top or in the back of their neck, it's also an intimate view. What I'm saying? Even if it's just the back of the neck, just that part, you know, it's a very intimate and nude view. What I'm saying? And that's, to us in the West, it says that's nothing, but to them, it's everything. What I'm saying? Um, and so she explains that. And so also geishas are real big on if a man married a simple woman with no education, it was the geisha he could sit and explore deep topics with. Female geisha, biggest competition at one time were male geishas. Exactly, Chief. I just, before I said, started by male geishas. One musical instrument that geishas, played is the shamisen. It's a three string guitar. That you have a um, I don't know the former name of, but it's a like a comb that you pluck it with, But sometimes you only see them like do simple string notes, but you could really play fast on the shamisen, right? Like you was playing a banjo. But yeah, they played the shamisen. They did fan dancing and you know um what is another one? Oh, they don't go into it in the movie, but tea. I know they talk about sake, but tea is also a big thing, and how you make tea, and how it's a whole ceremonial type thing. So how they you take the cup and you do it a certain way, you serve it this way, or and then you have your hands at certain angle, and things of that nature. It's very harmonious and ceremonial. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. But after all of that, she'll go to school and learns, and what she has to learn, like to say, what it takes years, you got to learn the money. So she was on the fast track to become a Geisha. But when her debut happens, her and Mommy Ha become sisters, and she becomes a Michael, which is a Princess Geisha, and Mamiha is what you call a Geico. She's a full fledged geisha, but she's also the senior geisha that guides Chio. You know, see, the tea is an exhibit of patience. Yes, it is, because you have to brew tea at a certain level, temperature, things of that nature, and then it's just not pour, and it's patience. You pour at a certain level, you set the what's the name down, and then you bow, things of that nature, and then you sit and enjoy the tea. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, Chief, for sure. But they basically become oath sisters, which basically bounds them, you know, and Chio's given a new name, Sayuri. Sayuri really is little Lily or Lily, you know. But yeah, and she basically debuts, at a small tea, at a tea house, and who's also there, Hatsumomo and Pumpkin. And this is one thing that I like about this scene. She trades shots with Hatsumomo, but it's not vulgar, and it's not loud, and it's not disgraceful upon herself, which a lot of women can understand it, because when you see women bicker back and forth, or trade shots, to talk about each other, they're loud, they're vulgar, they're ignorant, they're very crude, and um ghetto, and like, and mongrelized in that sense, and here you have women trading shots. Like, you see how Simone was like, because Chio had just started doing, stopped doing her fan dance, and then you see Hasamomo taking two fans and just flipping them up in the air, showing that, oh, I'm, this is what I learned, when I was a Michael. But I was once a former Michael myself. Not anybody can be a geisha. She's trading shots like anybody. My day, I had to, earn my stripes. You ain't do nothing, But then she says, yeah, you were once a Michael, and it was such a very long time ago. And then you see the guys laughing like, oh, she just, shots fired, bang, bang, So that, but that scene shows, women trading shots, or trading insults, but it's not disruptive of the environment, and it's witty, and it's not hmm, it's not vulgar, and it's not it doesn't show themselves to be less than what they are as geisha, you know. So yeah. Um so after that, basically Mommy Hot, comes up with a plan, because um basically how someone was going to target, Sayuri. So she says, we're going to go to a sumo match, and I want you to meet the Nobu, this guy named Nobu, who was a rich guy, and then who's there, the chairman, and we find out the chairman is one of Mamaha's clients. You know what I'm saying? So they at the sumo match, and she's told, to basically, um, not flirt, but get to know Nobu-san, So she does, what I'm saying? And Nobu take, who doesn't like Geisha? He like, you know, but that's the reason why she's there. But she basically changes his mind in that moment and says, Mamiha, you can bring her again. Whereas no Geisha could probably be around Nobu because he doesn't like Geisha. He says, you can bring her again. you know. Now, mind you, just so you know, not every man, you really have to be a man of means to be with a geisha. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. If I didn't say that, it's you have to be a big fish, to be a geisha. You know what I'm saying? Um, and while they're watching, the sumo match, Noble says, victory does not always belong to the powerful. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought was very, very insightful if you're a guy, because you see that in a lot of wars and things of that nature. Victory doesn't always belong to the powerful. You know what I'm saying? And then after the sumo match, they go visit Dr. Crab. Like I say, it's very westernized because you sort of see the hidden sub or the hidden um so-called stereotype of perversion, in this movie. If you pay attention, like think about the chairman. The chairman may look young, but think about it. He already had kids and things of that nature. He's preying upon I guess, somebody that's twice his age, maybe. Which is weird. But you see the hidden stereotype of perversion, right? And you also see that hidden type of perversion with Dr. Crab. You know what I'm saying? So, Sayuri cuts her leg. They go see Dr. Crab, to look at her thigh, whatnot, you know. But after that, they go, see Noble and them. And Noble buys her, a present, which is, a hair comb. He buys her a hair comb, you know what I'm saying? Which that's something that Noble wouldn't do. But he bought her a hair comb. And he's like, what, you don't like it? You know what I'm saying? And she gives him a rice cake, which shows, that she's a virgin and she's, looking, to ready for her Miswagi, because that's what it is. So she hands him that, but discreetly. You just don't hear, she gives him to it discreetly. So yeah. And if you rice cake is sort of the slang for the box, but yeah. Um, at least in modern times, rice cake is slang for the box. So yeah. And basically what Mamiha is planning to do with this is to basically have a bidding war, for, Chio's virginity. You know what I'm saying? I never realized the symbolism of rice cake. Yeah, you know. Um, Also, while it's in my head, I know you see, geisha, that painted, very, with white makeup and whatnot. You have to understand in Asian culture, white, the color, having white skin is a sign of divinity. So you can also say that being with a geisha was like, and also being, with that art is like being with a goddess yourself. You know what I'm saying? Keep that in mind, And so Hatsumomo, basically spreads lies about Sayuri, saying, she's not a virgin and things of that nature. And she sleeps around, to Dr. Crab. And, basically Mamaha makes Sayuri the principal lead in the Geisha debut that they have, you know, and she's the principal and she does phenomenal, you know. And that's one thing I like about that scene as well is you see her, you know, perform, and all eyes are on her. You can look away, which that is a feminine art right there. A moving work of art through music and display and dance, and it captivates you. You know what I'm saying? It captivates you and ensnares you to where you can't look away because you're so taken away by the art that is being bestowed, well, basically shown to you at that moment. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah. And so you know, basically Sayuri goes, to the Baron's estate, you know, and she talks with the chairman for a bit. They go watch cherry blossoms, sakura. Um, and the Baron tries to have his way with her. He just wants to look, but he tries to have his way with her. You know what I'm talking about? And because of that, the rumor spreads that Sayuri has sold herself off, for a kimono, or basically sold off her virginity, for a kimono. But this is the time of of a Mitsuwagi, and there's there people are bidden. You know what I'm saying? So the night of her Mitsuwagi, um, Sayuri basically breaks the record. She breaks Mamiha's record, and her virginity is sold for 15,000 yen at that time. Um, but in true, okay, and so when that happens, you know, um, mother or Okasan decides to make Sayuri her heir. You know what I'm saying? And she says, "Now from now on, you are Nita Sayuri." Now mind you, last name is always first. First name is last. So that mother's last name is Nita. So she's now able to call herself as an adopted daughter of mother Nita Sayuri. That means that she's the heir of the lineage of the Okia, or of that house. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing. You know what I'm saying? You cast off the name of your biological parents, and then you choose the name. You take on the name of your adopted parent, and then you take on that lineage and that honor that is bestowed upon that house. You know what I'm talking about? So think about that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and after that, um, it's the person that bid the highest is Dr. Crab, right? But in truth, Mama Hot tells her that it was the Baron that offered the most money. But she's like, but I couldn't let it go to him. I'm sure you understand. That's that's two that's two sisters chopping it up like how some guys do. No, I couldn't let that happen. I'm sure you understand why, right? You taking food from my plate. I can't let him have you. You know what I'm saying? I gotta protect how I eat. You know what I'm saying? And that's all she pretty much said. I can't give him the bed because then he'll want you and then he'll, throw me away. And I can't basically let you mess up my money. Or how I gets my money. That's all she said. But she says it in a nice way because they sisters. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then she says, I know what was said wasn't a lie because no man will buy bid so much for something that he already taken. So yeah, so that's that. And then we see Sayuri and Hasamon. They fight, and basically the Okia is burning down before him because Hasamono, like mother lets Hasamon have it because she's like you said your heir was supposed to be pumpkin, and then and and mother's like, I can do what I want when I want it, and I don't care. This girl's gonna be a legend. Pumpkin, Ain't nobody think about pumpkin. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody think about pumpkin. And then she digs into how someone saying you was always messing around with that Kochi and what he left you. You don't eat. You're not even good enough to even have your own dana, which is I can't pronounce Adana right, but Adana is basically your patron. The man that you're with, for long term. You know what I'm saying? She don't even have that, and she's like, you ain't even a real geisha. You more like a common worker. I ain't gonna say it. You know me. Um, yeah, ain't nobody come see you, Otis. That's really what it said. But she's saying that you're not even good enough to even have a patron. That's like saying you're only an easy lay. You're only good for one night. You know what I'm saying? You're not good for long term. You don't have no long term value. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you don't have one, because you flaunt yourself off like a street worker, a woman of the night, and therefore, even though she brags about having the general ain't um made him himself her Donna. You know what I'm saying? So she don't have one. She's basically the patron is like a covering. So in that kind of world, and she don't even have one. You know what I'm saying? But yet, she act like she's so big and bad. But that sends her to want to burn down the house, and she does a little bit, and she leaves. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and after that, we see, the shifting of the tides of the war. You know what I'm saying? By this time, you know what I'm saying? They don't say, but you already know, Japan is doing bad. The atom bombs are being dropped down, you know what I'm talking about. And they're in a frantic state, you know. Yes, Sister Quiz, she's just hanging out there. She's just hanging out there. In the sense she's hanging out there. She food for the streets. So people have to evacuate. And so Mamiha and Sayura split up, because of the chairman and Nobu. One is sent to a nurse, Mamiha is sent to like a nursing station, and Sayura is sent to a kimono factory, you know what I'm saying, in the mountains. And after some time go by, years go by, you know, Nobu goes to Sayuri and asks her to meet, these Americans. They want to meet Geisha. And if you meet these Americans, if you meet this colonel, he'll be able to give us a business contract. And, because we lost everything, during the war. So now we're trying to rebuild and things of that nature. So he asks Sayuri if she can do that, if you can be a geisha again, basically. And Sayuri goes to Pumpkin and Mamiha. And mom, for one, Mamiha, because like she says, the war had been written all over her, but she worked in a nursing station, so of course the war has been written, written all over her. And Mamiha, is the Baron died, he killed himself, he committed suicide, and he lost everything. So Mamiha lost her, her patron or her covering in that sense, and she just rents rooms, and she's hardened because of the war. You could tell. Whereas Pumpkin is Pumpkin is fallen. You know what I'm saying? She's westernized, and she's basically a woman of pleasure. I'm just gonna put it out there. She's basically a woman of pleasure. You see that type of thing like in the Vietnam War. You know what I'm talking about? She's that, but she smokes. She knows all the American songs and whatnot, and all the American lingo and whatnot. But Sayuri asks her for help. But she also asks her forgiveness for taking away, that being the heir to, the Okia. But they basically both say yes or whatever. and the Sayuri meets the Americans. Now, during this time, you know, like Sayuri, the narration would say, you know, during this time when the Americans come, anybody off the street would say that they were Geisha. You know what I'm saying? I see how. Yes. Of course, we know a girl named Pumpkin that was, well, anyway. um, but anybody off the street would just say they were geishas. They could be, common streetwalkers, and they would say that they were geisha. But also, one way you can tell the difference between a common prostitute and a geisha is by the obi. Okay, when prostitutes wear kimonos and things of that nature, they wear the obi in the front, right? Basically, it's like a belt, but they wear the obi in the front. The reason being is because they have to take off their clothes, and they have to take off their clothes, a bunch of times. you know. So they wear their OB in the front. Geisha wear their OB in the back. So somebody has to do their OB for them because they don't take off their clothes like common, street workers. So their OB has always been in the back. More importantly, also hair ornaments. Um, Prostitutes wear a lot of hair ornaments, and if you look at it, it's very gaudy. If you look at the old pictures, it looks very gaudy. It never looks good. Whereas female geishas, they wear hair ornaments, but they're very simple and they're not gaudy at all, and they don't wear a bunch. But they wear signature hair ornaments, so you know who they are. It's just and to distinct themselves from each other as well. To have their own style and flair. Same thing with the kimono. So that's how you know the difference, right? So, but you see that in when the Americans come, and mind you, when we talk about Americans, we be talking about Caucasian Anglo-Saxon Americans. You don't see no colored, you know. So we ain't talking about us. They don't want us over there. Mister, steal your girl. Anyway. Did it now. Okay. So, they meet the Americans. And Nobu sees, Sayuri, exactly, danger. But Nobu sees Sayuri with the colonel, and he gets jealous. But he gets jealous because he likes Sayuri, and he confesses to her, and he wants to become her Dana. Um, and she tells Mamiha. That's what this is what Disney princess and the feminist aspect gets to, that she doesn't want Nobu, but she's like, Nobu doesn't has always been kind to you. He saved your life, and he would do anything for you, and basically, and Mamiha tells her, we don't become geisha to pursue our own destinies. We become geisha because we have no choice. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I think that's not a good line. I mean, if you wanted a better line, is that we don't become geisha to pursue our own egos, or our own egotistical wants. You know what I'm saying? But that is what it is. But Sayuri has a plan. She plots to have Noah see her with the colonel, or basically in a sexual embrace. Not saying having sex, but in a sexual embrace with the colonel, so he can see it and not want her. But instead of Pumpkin telling Nobu, she tells the chairman to get back at Sayuri for what she did to her. Taking away the Kia house from her. You know, um, and whatnot. So I don't know who's the best guy in this situation. Noble or the chairman. I don't know who's the best guy, so I can't comment on that one. But you know, because of that, Sayuri goes to meet the chairman because she's asked for, and the chairman tells her the truth. You know that he asked Mami Ha to take her under her wing and whatnot, and that chairman has always liked her and wants to be with her and wants to be her Donna and whatnot. And they both confess to each other that we love each other and whatnot. Disney princess mode, whoop whoop whoop, right? And they hug. They don't kiss, but they hug. That's one thing in if you watch Eastern television, there's a lot of hugging, kissing, yes, but not to the point where it's pornographic kissing. You know what I'm talking about? So or it's very pornographic, if that makes sense to you. There's a kiss, but not too much kissing. So there's a distinction. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of hugging. you know, a lot of embracing. But yeah. Um, but then you have a narration saying, to a man, Geisha can only be half wife, and basically we are the wives of nightfall. You know what I'm saying? That's what I say. It's like a Geisha's like a female mafia, but if you know that type of world they live in, it's a woman's world. You know what I'm talking about? Because only women can survive in it. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, uh, geisha are permitted to have children with their Dana. You know what I'm saying? And if you are a daughter, you will succeed, in that life. If you are a son, there's no room for you. You know what I'm saying? But it is a world where the women rule this world. It really is. You know what I'm saying? And more importantly, you know what I'm saying, they run it. There's no male interference, and it's very steeped in culture and things of that nature. And one thing that don't do, geishas don't tell. Geishas don't tell. They keep secrets. You know what I'm talking about? Nowadays, women got tell all books. They go on shows. They go on Oprah. They go on they go on Oprah no more, but they go on talk shows. They'll tell anything and everything. Put it on TMZ. Put it on Snapchat. They got receipts. This, that. I mean, they just tell everything. But here you have um, a female system. Yes, that one and the others too, others too, brother Antonio. But here you have a female system where it's steeped in secrecy, and it's not for everybody to know about. But another reason why they keep secrets or whatever is because at one point in time, you know what I'm saying, when basically the Meiji Restoration was going to kick off, and the emperor was going to buy for power and take over power from the shogunate. Um, those that were going to basically rebel against the shogunate, their meeting place were okiyas or geisha houses. So the geishas, you can always be safe because the geisha wouldn't tell. So that's where they will meet up and plot. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they couldn't tell. They have history where they were basically basically safe houses of information. So they couldn't tell. And they pride themselves on not being able to tell. I saw in the documentary how this prime minister of Japan, he had a so-called geisha, but she told everything. And then you had the geisha saying, those that were geisha, they was like, that woman ain't no geisha. She's just telling all the secrets. She's not a real geisha. You know what I'm talking about? No, this has always been the culture of the brothel as well. Men in all levels of society meet at the brothel, so information is swirling around constantly. Exactly, Chief. That was one. Information. You want a broker information. You go to a brothel. You see that you like you. I see that and whatnot, where information brokers because they would meet with these noble lords and they would just tell all their secrets, or what they were doing. And they would just meet there and what they were planning. They would just trade information back and forth. you know, give us money or we gonna tell this secret. Give us money, we gonna, So yeah, that's Chief telling the truth. That's always been the thing. So yeah, but that's one thing they don't tell. they don't, you know they don't tell all. But like I said, they deal in the art of femininity. So you know one thing that's probably very feminine is to be quiet. You don't tell everything. Whereas some women they do, but it shows their pedigree. Whereas I guess you say geisha try to show that they come from a very distinguished pedigree to where, not only do they look good, but their character and everything that represents them shows that they have a very high pedigree. Not any man can have them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can take that into into some insight. But yeah, they embrace. That's the end of the movie. Look, here I am talking about stuff about real geisha, but that's the end of the movie, right? But like I say, it's a little Disney princess. You know what I'm saying? Where you know Chio wants it all and whatnot, but it's good, but it's westernized. So but it's a really it's always been a cool movie to watch because you don't see a lot of movies like that anyway. And even if you do, it's stereotyped, where those type of women are looked at and scoffed and frowned upon, but hey, they get in how they live, I guess, but yeah, you know, and they become famous. There's some famous geishas, and some even became wives. One famous geisha, Yuki, she married a Morgan. She married a Morgan, which the famous J.P. Morgan and she married into that family. I mean, her husband died, but she married into that family. There's a movie, an old school movie with John Wayne called The Barbarian and the Geisha, which basically tells a story of a U.S. Emissary that comes to Japan, and he gets with a geisha, and that's true. Now that woman killed herself, when he left. But hey, you know, some there was one also another geisha who I think she married a um, Russian ambassador. There's some famous geishas and whatnot. Also, because of their education, traditionally the geisha were utilized to advise and counsel, similar to Queen Gorgo in 300. Yes, yes, I would. I I would definitely say that too, Chief. Yeah, they were there to advise and things of that nature. I don't know about Gorgo, but I wish there's so many um, Eastern uh empresses that are far more better than Gorgo. Far more better. That really had that advisory game on lock. But then they could be some of the most brutal. Well, that because then they buy power. Like okay, a real life woman that actually advised an emperor and was an empress. I just know her as the Dragon Lady. Basically, this is because you're going to hear about this. Basically, when the chairman talks about being in Manchuria, the Japanese really went into Manchuria, but you got to understand something that this was during the Qing dynasty, or the last vestige of the Qing dynasty, you know. And the last emperor was Aisenjiro Puyi, who was Manchurian, and his grandmother was who they called, well, what was it, Shishi? I think it was Shishi. It's Cixi. So it should be Shishi. And she was known as the Dragon Lady. But she was the Dowager Empress. And she would advise the emperors, that she was with, and the emperors that came after the emperors that she was with. But she also held power, and she made basically the emperor a puppet. And she ran the state. She ran the empire, or basically she basically was the last vestige of power for the Qing dynasty after you know before Puyi came to power. And then when she died, it was done for the Qing. It was done. They were done for. But that's an example. Because hey, they was getting it. She was getting it, but she put people in power. To not only keep herself in power, but she also advised and things of that nature. But there's some Eastern female rulers. I can't say Gorgo. I can't give it all to the West. You go to the East, you be like, man, he really did that. Them females was really doing it. Yeah, they were really doing it. And they got facts. They got a fact sheet. I'm talking about. So but those women were sent. Had a bigger education, so they were able to advise more. You know what I'm saying? And besides, if you're the empress and you run the harem, you got to be able to manage and know some things. You can't let all these women run wild. So yeah, so it would make sense that she would advise the emperor. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I pick up with Eastern studies. As I pay attention more and more, you know, and read up on some things. But yeah, the Dragon Lady, basically, turned the century. There's even pictures of her, but I also remember a depiction of her in a movie called 55 Days in Peking. It's basically about the Boxer Rebellion and her and whatnot. And you got Charlton Heston and Ava Gardner. Yes, I know who these people are. I know Charlton Heston movies before Ten Commandments. So yeah, Charlton Heston movie played in that, and it's about the Boxer Rebellion in China, and it talks about her and things of that nature. But yeah, because they when the Japanese go through Manchuria, they rename it. They call it Manchukuo, and they set up Puyi as the puppet emperor. And it's sort of sad, but you see that in the movie Last Emperor. But if you check up on him, in at the Astro Historical Puyi, what I'm saying, um he was played, he was a puppet emperor for the Japanese, but also for those in China, because it was the state of the warlords. What I'm talking about. The state of the warlords. So everybody was vying for power. And then you got the Democratic Republic of China. Well, not the Democratic Republic, but the Democratic Nationalist Party, I think it was called, with Chiang Kai-shek. What I'm saying. But yeah, but like I said, Manchuria is just an ethnic part of China. It's not the Han. That Manchus are different. They're sort of like Mongols in a sense, but they're not Mongols. But you look at their writing script, you would think that, but that's where they started, Japan, and that's when Chairman talks about that time, what I'm saying. But they win, but it's romanticized to a sense that if the chairman is a war veteran, he doesn't have the barbarity or the savagery of a Japanese word, because them boys got gutter. Man, you did not. Well, we ain't gonna talk about that. You did not want to be in a Japanese prison camp, but yeah, but they no, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but that also gives you context, and then you can sort of sometimes you can sort of connect movies to it for historical examples. Like I say, he talks about that. You think of the Japanese going into Manchuria. You think of the Last Emperor. Then you got Puyi and things of that nature. And then you go back to like 55 Days in Peking, or what's that movie? Um, Love is a Many Splendor Thing. Love is a Many Splendor Thing. That's what it's called. I haven't seen it in a long time. But me talking about old movies. But yeah, Omega Man. Right, Chief. But like I said, you can put these movies together. Look, Last Samurai. You could basically say that Memoirs of Geisha is like the last Geisha, because that's basically what they sort of portray it as. If you peep, you know what I'm saying? It's like the last vestiges of a geisha or whatever, and Chio's the last geisha. It's the memoirs of the last geisha. It's weird like that, but that too, but it's westernized. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, I said all that just to say that. But yeah, so join. Okay, join us next strong. Next strong, we are doing um the Tomorrow War. um for Sister Kashia. We're gonna do the Tomorrow War. It just came out on Amazon, so it's an Amazon original. So this should be interesting. That's true. They turn from geishas and could turn. Not only that, Chief, but I would tell you this: they turn geishas into dang on hostesses. You know what I'm saying? Not just prostitutes, but hostesses. Because hostess bars are big in Japan. So they turn geishas. Or the life of a geisha is like hostess bars and girls with buddy outfits and maid cafes and whatnot and things of that nature. They man they they fell off. I was about to say, who requested that message? Chief, Blame, Sister Kashia. I am just working on requests. She prescribed that one. I look. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna break it down. But Chief said that, not me. I didn't. I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway because Sister she is cool. That's what she wants. That's what she gets. I don't care, you know. But yeah, Sister Queer. They brought in. But you know what, Sister Queer? It's not just that they brought in the Americans. You gotta understand, before even the Americans, they were bringing in they were bringing in the Dutch, the German, the British. That was the Meiji era. Was really, they wanted to be like all the other Western countries. So they brought in those type of advisors and whatnot. So it was happening before, you know, basically the United States came. We just came in and just wrecked shop. We bombed, we dropped the bomb on them, and then we're like, okay, we gonna give them something else. Like you have like if you listen to the music, like I was listening to music, like they had the Andrew sisters, for those that don't know who they were three sisters, that sung and whatnot, one song I remember about the Andrew sisters is Johnny Fedora and Alice Blue Body. Disney Channel, I tell you. But that was the actual cartoon that they sung for, But they sung and Little Two, they sung for that cartoon, that Disney cartoon. Um And what other songs did they sing? They sung a bunch of songs. They were in some movies, some old movies. You will see the Andersons in some old movies, but you see them playing, but you hear them playing in Memoirs of Geisha. You know, you have to bring you have to bring life to that John. He said, John, Chief, you ain't from Philly, but hey, it is what it is. I know what that. How you know what John is? I knew a girl from Philly, but anyway, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna have to. You look, if I got a necromance that movie, it's okay. You know, if I got to be Monroe with that one, it's all right. It's okay. Let's get the book ready and bring Emotep up into this like the mummy. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're doing the Tomorrow War, you know, and that one should be interesting. That one should be interesting. If Sister Kashia, if I complain about it, that's you brought this on yourself. You know what I'm talking about. You brought this on yourself. But we gonna break it down nevertheless. We gonna see the hidden meaning, even if it's even if it's not a good movie. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I said Monroe. You know, we you know, but you know what? There are some good insights from bad movies if you pay attention to them. I what's a bad movie? What is a bad movie that had good insight? Dang, what is a bad movie that had good insight? Huh. Um, be open. Don't. First of all, Chief is not getting to me, Sister Kashia. I don't like bad movies because I have to pull my teeth to watch it. But like, oh, I'm ready to shut this off. So he's not getting to me. That's just really how I am. You could probably call me a movie snob because I feel like I watch good movies. You know, Hot Tub Time Machine. Oh, huh. Okay, never seen that one. Huh, interesting. Hot Tub Time Machine. Um, ooh, what was a bad movie that I could? Mm, dang, huh? What is a bad movie? Okay, okay, okay. Maybe this was a bad movie. Hollywood Nights. For those that know, Hollywood Nights. That's a bad movie, but I guess it has some insight. Look at me, I'm grasping straws. Yeah, Hollywood Nights. I'll probably say Hollywood. Rapture Palooza. Man, I never seen Bad Hair. Bad Hair, huh? White, making my way downtown, but I'm homebound. Okay, you put a request, Sister Deirdre. Though, look, Sister Deirdre, you have been you have been good with your movie requests. Don't mess it up for you. Sister Kashia is already too far gone. She already put in her bad request. Don't be that woman. Keep on bringing the good stuff. So I can always dig you up because right now you come with some hidden gems and I really want you to stay on point. Bad Hair was good. It got bad ratings. Man, okay. I'm gonna say the Suicide Squad that just came out. That's good, but it got bad ratings. Apparently, it got bad. It's flopping right now, but it's good. No, it's good. But yeah, you don't know even though everybody says the Tomorrow War is bad. Why don't look? Chief don't even watch movies, and he knows it's bad. So how? So I mean. Buckaroo Banzai. I've always wanted to watch that. Here we go. All right, no more request. No request for you, Sister Shia, but bring the good stuff. Don't bring me nothing. I gotta pull my teeth, and then I'm like, I gotta do this, but I don't like it. Suicide. The old one was bad. The new one was actually good because it actually brought more depth to characters. You know what I'm talking about? And then it brought depth to dang on characters that no one knew, that no one knew about. That was very interesting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you put in several requests. One of them I can't do because it got taken off Amazon. But I'm glad that you put in that request because I like Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky. I like his comic books, because I got the Meta Barons. I don't have the Inkle, but I got the Meta Barons. I got both big volumes of Meta Baron. And Meta Barons just it's good. It's a good adult comic. It's not for little kids, but it's a good adult comic. You know what I'm saying? But Jodorowsky, he does good work. We ride out for you. We'll suffer through it. See, just for you. See how we do. We gonna suffer just for you, just for you. So it's okay, but we gonna ride out for you though. I was gonna press a higher power movie. That's fine, Sister Quill. There's many. Now I will say this: not all Harry Potters are good, but but they're cool. But Harry Potters are cool. You got grown folks that want to be in one of the dang on houses. Harry Potter is cool. Uh, so yeah, if you wanna, yeah, right now Harry Potter is still on HBO Max. So if you want to put in a request for a Harry Potter movie, hurry up, so they don't take it off. You know what I'm saying? So we can work with that one. So, but yeah, we doing the tomorrow. Requested by Sister Kashi. Don't forget that. This is not mine. Raise the Red Lantern. I ain't never seen that. Raise the Red Lantern. Huh. That's interesting. Well, I'll find out. I'll find out what it is. Peaceful Warrior was a crap movie they gave with great messages. Never seen that one. Never seen that one. Take a bow, Mr. Powers. You rewritten our mother. See, the movie quotes just come. They just come like that. So now she got me thinking about Lean on Me. That was my quote movies today. Joe, your personal battles are gonna cost us the war. Worried about the testos? What the hell you think I'm worried about? End of discussion. Okay. So I've had fun with y'all. I'm done because now we just making jokes. So like I said, we doing a tomorrow war, and we gonna raise the dead like in Color Purple. My God, the dead has arisen. Yes, we're going to we're going to necromancer movie. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but we gonna do it. we are going to go through the fire. Through the fire. Oh man, you got me started. Okay. But thank you so that for everybody. Give thanks for everybody for coming out. And hey, we got Shamanu tomorrow, so be there for that. So hey, we will see you next strong. Give thanks everybody, and peace.